Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News at 9, we start tonight with breaking news. The TBI agents are just now releasing new information. They have found missing Journey and Daly Garrett in Alabama. The two children, the subject of an Amber Alert earlier tonight. Their mother, Casey Campbell, is now behind bars. Police in Shelbyville asking for the Amber Alert after no one had seen the children since March 13th.
Every time we get a little bit of evidence, there's 100 more questions.
Fox 17 News at 9 with more breaking news. Two new discoveries creating new questions tonight in the disappearance of Riley Strain. He's the college student that vanished after leaving a downtown bar over a week ago. Now his family and friends are directing some of those questions at Metro Police after TikTokers found Strain's debit card. Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino in daily contact with Riley's family and sharing new updates and their new concerns.
I spoke to Chris Dingman, a close family friend, who tells me there are some concerns over this case. For example, why it took 2 days for a detective to actually be assigned to this investigation and why it's still being considered a missing persons case as opposed to a criminal investigation, which could bring in more resources. He says he is grateful that TikTokers did find the bank card belonging to Riley Strain just down this embankment here near that wall close to the river.
A day after a stunning discovery by two young women on TikTok.
And my stomach dropped.
Riley's bank card, found on a riverbank near where he was last seen, is now being analyzed for fingerprints.
How many people have looked at that particular scene and been on it, and it took those specific young ladies to find that card?
But Chris Dingman, a family friend working daily with Riley's parents on any leads, tells Fox 17 News there are concerns over how Metro Police are handling the search. We sent police a list of questions, including why just today this officer body cam video.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Showing Riley in his last known location by the James Robertson Parkway Bridge and the river was released 9 days after it was captured. We asked why an actual detective wasn't assigned to the case until 2 days after Riley was reported missing, according to his family.
I wish something would have been done sooner. We've discussed this. The first 48 is so crucial.
There's also this surveillance video that Fox 17 News exclusively uncovered of Riley crashing into a pole, then holding his head. An employee at the shop who released the video to us saying as of 3 days later, he still hadn't been questioned by detectives.
You know, don't shoot the messenger, but I think if we had people with badges right now that was covering this as strongly as the media has, we'd have Riley home.
After Riley's card was found yesterday, more concerns as to why the area wasn't intensely recombed by police.
My TikTokers were extremely confused why nothing was taped off.
And perhaps the most pressing question for Riley's family, why more resources haven't been brought in as police still consider this a missing persons case and not criminal.
It blows our mind that, you know, the card that was found yesterday in the family's mind is evidence that there was a crime, yet we're being told, well, that may not be what it takes to reclassify this from a missing persons. And that is very frustrating.
The Uvalde Foundation announcing Sunday it's sending volunteers to help in the search effort, stating, quote, volunteers are focusing on the downtown Nashville area as they do not believe current searches along the Cumberland River will produce results. Metro Police not directly answering any of Fox 17 News' questions, but saying in an email, no evidence of foul play has surfaced as work continues to locate Riley Strain. On Sunday evening, Riley's parents met with some of the detective team and received a full briefing on the work being done. They were also shown available video.
And Chris Dingman tells me he understands that Metro Police are dealing with staffing shortages, as are many police departments across the country. I'm Kelly Avellino for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
I'm picking up where Kelly left off to give you some context of the area that she was just talking about. Well, here is the video of where that police officer interacted with Riley that was caught on his body cam here on Gay Street downtown. Now, right after that video, we see he walked up a block here, and a little ways away was the last ping on his cell phone, and also where his debit card was found. Riley's cell phone pinged at the James Robertson Parkway and Gay Street, and again, the bank card found not too far away from that area. The GoFundMe set up to help the Strain family with hotel, food, and travel expenses during their stay here. It has reached more than $54,000, far exceeding the goal of $1,000. More than 1,100 people have contributed to the crowdfunding campaign. We've been tracking this story for you since Riley disappeared. Fox 17 News compiling all of the surveillance video, and we walked the route that Riley took after leaving Luke Bryan's bar. If you'd like to see all of that, we've got it for you posted at fox17.com. You can see all of the stories and interviews that we've posted regarding this missing person case. Just go, again, as I just mentioned, fox17.com and search Riley Strain. Tonight on Fox 17 News at 9:30, Riley Strain, not the only missing person case that our area is working right now. The people that investigators are asking you to keep an eye out on.
I think that the student's perspective and the student point of view has not been truly brought into this conversation.
A plan to change the way TSU is governed is seeing changes of its own. State lawmakers pushing forward a bill to remove 3 members of the university's governing board. The idea not sitting well with some students. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller joining us live from the state capitol after some lawmakers call this a good compromise.
Yes, well, last week, the members of the Senate voted to get rid of all 10 members of the governing board at TSU. But today, the House voted to get rid of just 3 of these members. Now, we spoke with some of the students at TSU who say they're not happy about the process because they say they don't believe they have a voice in it.
Bill moves out.
The House Government Operations Committee passed an amendment vacating 3 members of Tennessee State University's governing board.
With the amendment, that is the structure of the bill as it has been already stated.
Under the plan, it would stay that way until 2026.
This keeps the entire board from being vacated. You never want to do that.
Representative Harold Love Jr. says it's a step in the right direction because he explains it restores the student and faculty trustee positions and is a good compromise from the Senate bill to remove all board members.
There's been a good receptive mindset toward this, and I don't want to speak for the Senate, but I think that they are going to be amenable to what this looks like.
Durrell Taylor, Student Government Association president, represents more than 7,000 students. And he says many students are questioning why none of these resolutions are involving student feedback.
The students are still concerned as to why we have not been brought to the table, why we are not included in discussions, and we continue to hear dialogue such as, we want to see TSU be great.
Taylor emphasizes that TSU is a successful school and is only improving, and he emphasizes they want students to have more of a voice. Sean Wimberly Jr., student trustee on the Board of Trustees, says the less disruptive the state is on their leadership, the better.
We're not the most supportive of any members getting removed, but the less disruptive it is to our student body and to our campus, that's what it is.
Especially at a time where Wimberly says they are in the process of searching for a new university president. This bill is making its way through the House, and Representative Love says it could be on the House floor as early as next week. Reporting live from the state capitol, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Thank you, Caitlin. Continuing coverage as there's been a history of tension between TSU and the state of Tennessee. Advocates say the state of Tennessee shorted the university more than $2 billion over 3 decades. That's federal dollars the university says the government withheld. Current Governor Bill Lee says his administration invested more than $500 million into the university. The school also had housing issues over the past several years, putting students in hotel rooms because they simply did not have enough room in the dorms. Late tonight, looking at a hard freeze across much of Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky as temperatures drop well into the 20s. So anything that has started to bud, you'll want to make sure that you are protecting them, because we're looking at temperatures well in those 20s. So we'll expect a widespread frost across a lot of the area here. Temperatures in Nashville right around 27 or so for the early morning hours. Clarksville around 26, mid to lower 20s out towards the Cumberland Plateau. Live look here downtown, pretty quiet on a Monday night here, and a cold night at that. Temperature already in the upper 30s with mainly clear skies, and you notice too that the radar is pretty quiet as well. Not the case for folks just to the north and west of us, dealing with some lake effect snow showers here throughout the afternoon and the evening hours. But again, we stay quiet and we stay mainly clear as we head through the overnight and into tomorrow. Tomorrow looking pretty nice with the sunshine around. So will be a cold start to spring. We are watching some late week rain chances for us, and right now the weekend looking good. We'll detail the weekend forecast and to look ahead at our next chance for rain, when you can anticipate it in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. Megan.
Thank you, Katie. A law to ensure a safe night out for everyone under the microscope. Why some say more can be done when it comes to Dallas's law.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Backed with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Lease a new 2024 Sportage LX for $279 a month.
Continuing coverage as state lawmakers are now looking to make changes to a law that protects customers, business owners, and security guards from conflicts in bars that could turn violent. Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse explains.
This law is called Dallas's Law, and it's named after a 22-year-old who died from asphyxiation, according to the medical examiner, and police classified his death as a homicide. The way current law is written is licensed security guards must complete de-escalation, restraint techniques, and CPR training within 15 days of obtaining their license. But here's the catch. There's nothing in the law currently that states security guards have to show their Dallas law training until they're up for renewal, unless there is a compliance check beforehand. This law was put into effect January 2023 after 22-year-old Dallas Barrett died of asphyxiation during the summer of 2021 on Dierks Bentley's Whiskey Row rooftop. Bar staff told officers Barrett became unruly and was asked to leave. Officers were told that Barrett began to fight with the security guards, who reportedly pulled him to the ground and held him on the floor. Dallas's mom, Tammy Barrett, says she wants to tweak the law that's in the name of her son.
There's got to be something changed. I can't put my finger on what yet, but I feel like there's definitely some changes that need to be made.
Senator Jeff Yarbrough worked closely with late Representative Bill Beck on this law. Leaders worked really hard after Dallas's death to make sure the proper training is in place for security guards.
No one should be facing the chance of such a violent altercation when they're just going out in Nashville to have a good time.
And now the push to make downtown safe continues.
When things like this happen, I mean, we shouldn't turn a blind eye when incidents like this happen, but instead try to figure out what went wrong and how we can make the laws and better so that all of our people can be safe.
Senator Yarbrough says he will talk with the state's department to assess what changes need to be made. We're going to make sure to follow up with lawmakers on this. In studio, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Tomorrow, the first official day of spring, and it is coming in cold for tomorrow afternoon and even tomorrow morning. As we talked about earlier, the hard freeze for a lot of folks here in Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky. Here in town, temperatures dropping down overnight into the mid to upper 20s here. This dark purple meaning that it is a freeze. The blue indicates a frost. And again, the difference here is just more of a localized frost.
Then we get temperatures below 32 and staying below 32 for quite a while here. We're looking at a widespread frost, and that'll be likely as we head through tomorrow morning. Again, bottoming out around 27 to 28 degrees. For Tuesday, 10 a.m. up to about 40. We'll look at mainly sunny skies as we head through the afternoon. Winds will pick up a little bit as we head into the day. It was a tad breezy this afternoon, and I would expect those winds to be anywhere between 10 to 15 miles per hour for tomorrow as well. 55 our temperature by the afternoon hours. I think we'll reach about 60 for the day as we see that sunshine around for much of the afternoon. Now, rain chances are not going to be plentiful this week. We are dry for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Late Thursday night will be the time frame that we're expecting that next chance for rain to arrive, and that'll be through Friday morning. This looks to be scattered through Friday, though, as we look at these rain showers around through Friday morning through midday. And the good news is I don't see severe weather to be a big problem for us. So we walk you through tomorrow afternoon. This stops at 1 o'clock in the afternoon hours, and you can see a nice quiet picture. So we'll see that sunshine around. Through Wednesday morning, there will be a front that arrives on Wednesday. Really won't do too much as far as cooling us down. In fact, temperatures will climb into those mid to upper 60s for the day on Wednesday. Maybe a little bit more cloud cover around, but again, looking at dry conditions. Thursday morning, showers to our south and to our west. Better chances for rain building as we head towards the afternoon or late afternoon, evening on Thursday, and more so into Friday morning. Scattered rain here, keeping a lot of, or at least the bulk of the moisture to our south, but we'll be starting the day Friday a bit on the soggy side for us. That should last through at least half the day. 28, a cold night ahead with clear skies, and we'll look for plenty of sunshine as we head through the day on Tuesday, the first full day of spring, or at least the first day of spring. We'll talk more about what the first day of spring means, the vernal equinox, breaking it down on your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
Thank you, Katie. And we want to know what you think now that we're talking about it. Are you excited for spring? 307 people weighing in on this. Most people, almost 90%, say yes. 10.4% say no. This poll's live right now. If you'd like to throw your opinion in there, we'd love to hear it. Scan the QR code right there on your screen. It will take you to the poll on X that's up and running right now. And we'll show you updated poll results here a little later in the newscast.
I'm Janae Bones in Washington. Look at the controversy over Donald Trump's bloodbath comment.
And after 8 decades, Jo-Ann Fabrics filing for bankruptcy. How the company plans to get its debt under control.
Hey there, hope you're having a great night. I'm Jennifer Waddell from the Fox 17 News Morning Show. Interest in careers in science, technology, math, and engineering certainly growing, but experts say there's more work to do. Why they say it's important.
Trending now, former President Trump's comment saying a Biden re-election would result in a, quote, bloodbath is creating some controversy. As Fox 17 News' Janae Bowens explains, some of his backers and a few critics say this message is about the auto industry and taken out of context. And by the way, you can vote on this issue by scanning that QR code that will appear here shortly on your screen.
Donald Trump is getting heat over comments he made about the auto industry under President Joe Biden.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
The reaction is harsh.
That is dangerous, it's irresponsible, and he should not get away with it.
The same people saying this is out of context have not condemned the other dozens of times he has made comments that prompt political violence.
When you then say, and there will be a bloodbath if I lose, you lose the benefit of the doubt because there's a pattern here that goes back a year.
The former president responded Monday on Truth Social, saying the fake news made a big deal out of the word bloodbath, knowing that it was about our shrinking auto manufacturing business. And the fact that they use the same name all the time, they are so bad.
Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, I think they're often taken out of context, but you have a situation here where I don't think he cares that much. I think he believes he's impervious to these kinds of attacks. And to say that he meant literally bloodbaths, I think is a step too far.
Trump also posted a video of journalists and commentators using the word.
Not only is it going to be a bloodbath.
On Sunday, former Vice President Mike Pence rebuked his former boss for calling people arrested in connection to January 6th hostages. He's not endorsing Trump for president. Even still, Pence defended the controversial comments.
The president was clearly talking
about the impact of imports devastating the American automotive industry.
Was that clear to you? Because it was a little muddled.
It was.
Both Democrats and Republicans use their opponents' words out of context. But in this case, many experts agree Trump critics are missing the mark. In Washington, I'm Janae Bowens.
Well, during that story, we had a QR code linked up to this poll asking, is Donald Trump's bloodbath comment a big deal? Here are the results. 1,172 people weighing in. Most people say no. 78.6% of respondents say no, it's not a big deal. 21.4% say yes. In your business news, one of America's most popular craft stores is facing serious financial problems tonight. Joann Fabric and Craft Store just filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The company is 81 years old, based in Ohio, and has 829 stores in 49 states. It went public 3 years ago. Shares were $12, and tonight, stocks closed at 18 cents a share. The company expects to cut its debt by $505 million and fund $132 million in new funding. Search after search across the mid-state, the push to bring home the missing.
Should the government play a role in fighting misinformation?
Your new pool today, spa starting at $29.99. Great deals on patio furniture going on now at Family Leisure.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by B.F. Myers Furniture.
Missing persons cases have been making headlines several times recently here in Nashville and throughout Middle Tennessee. Continuing coverage as Riley Strain's disappearance has been a media focal point, trying to help the family and the public get answers. And that's all while missing persons cases play out day after day. There's a handful of other recent missing persons cases that are still unsolved here in the greater Nashville area.
While Riley Strain has been missing since March 8th, last seen leaving a Broadway bar. One day before that, 53-year-old Sean Beery was reported missing in Clarksville. Beery works at a local Goodwill store and contacted his employer March 8th, saying he would be in the next day for work, but never showed. He stands 6 feet tall and weighs approximately 185 pounds with brown hair and blue eyes. And a day before Beery's disappearance on March 7th, a desperate plea from the mother of 36-year-old Dylan Peluso. She said her son was last seen around 5:20 p.m. leaving his apartment on College Street in Tullahoma after getting into a fight. He hadn't been seen since that disturbance call until Sunday, March 17th. Police say Peluso's body was found in a wooded area on North College Street. There has been no determination on cause of death, and an autopsy is pending. Meanwhile, the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers carries on without any significant new leads. His mother reported the Sumner County autistic teenager missing Monday, February 26th, saying she last saw her son as they were getting ready for bed the night before. Police agencies and search crews have canvassed more than 2,000 miles, searching for Sebastian. Police have combed through a Kentucky landfill, searched neighborhoods, highways, and even checked nearby caves. Dive teams have covered underwater areas, and helicopters have used infrared thermal technology trying to track Sebastian from the sky.
New tonight, the Supreme Court taking up the debate over free speech and misinformation on social media. Some states argue the Biden administration crossed the line during the pandemic. Fox 17 News' Atra El-Nashar with those arguments.
When President Biden took office in January 2021, the COVID death toll in the U.S. had just surpassed 400,000. Part of his administration's pandemic strategy was to fight mis- and disinformation.
Modern technology companies have enabled misinformation to poison our information environment with little accountability to their users.
We are in regular touch with these social media platforms, and those engagements typically happen through members of our senior staff, but also members of our COVID-19 team.
Did the government's correspondence with social media companies violate the First Amendment? That question now before the Supreme Court.
The government's not allowed to engage in that kind of censorship. They're also not allowed to outsource that to these social media giants either.
The Biden administration says the decisions to moderate content were ultimately made independently by the platforms in line with existing company policies. And much of that moderation, they say, began before the government's conduct at the center of this case.
There's a problem if the government is engaged in coercion, but if it stays on the persuasion side of the line and all we're talking about is government speech, then there's no state action and there's also no First Amendment problem.
The administration points out there was no retaliation in instances the platforms did not remove the content they found problematic. Some of the justices, including Chief Justice John Roberts, appeared skeptical of the Republican AG's arguments.
Maybe the EPA is trying to coerce the platform about something, and the Army Corps of Engineers is trying to coerce them the other way. I mean, you can't just sort of pick and choose which part of the government you're concerned about.
The court's decision in this case could determine how or if the government can communicate with platforms during the next emergency. For example, if the FBI is concerned about posts by a terrorist group, even if that speech is technically protected by the First Amendment.
What this case, I think, really represents is updating First Amendment law into the digital age.
The court's ruling in this case is expected by early June. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atrel Najar reporting.
Overnight, expecting pretty cold conditions here. We've woke up this morning and kind of shocked at how cold it was outside. We're going to have another day just like it tomorrow morning. But the good news is from there, we'll start to warm things up. Live look from Metro Center. Looking quiet for tonight, and again, mainly clear skies. The winds have died down, so that is really going to help these temperatures to drop as we head through the evening hours. Right now, Nashville sitting at 37 degrees, of course, warmer the farther south you go into those 60s, and that feel nice or sound nice in Jacksonville, Florida right now. But that cold air definitely sinking into a lot of the country here, and we'll continue to see those temperatures fall as we go through the next several hours, leading to that widespread frost. So just for perspective, we're still kind of right on schedule. Our average last freeze isn't until March 31st. So we have a few weeks to go before we're talking about getting into the late season for freezes. The latest freeze on record, April 25th. So still a good month and a few days. Today's the 18th, so a month and some days to go for the latest freeze. So still looking good. Our last, again, average last freeze at the end of the month. We'll talk more about the first day of spring. What is the vernal equinox? It's coming up in your
$750 bonus cash on a 2023 Ford Explorer. Only at your local Ford dealer.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by U.S. Pest Protection.
This week on Full Measure, Cheryl Atkinson reported on efforts to install ranked choice voting around the country. If the candidate with the most votes doesn't get at least 51%, the election goes into an automatic series of instant runoffs. Cheryl spoke with Scott Gaines from the conservative group American Enterprise Institute about the issue.
So it supports the majority outcomes of the last two candidates, but it doesn't always support the majority outcome among all the candidates, and at least recent history has shown that in the presence of certain types of electorates, particularly ones that have partisan polarization, candidates that have true majority support don't actually get selected.
And we'll go back to some basics in a minute, but can you answer that idea that maybe the majority person isn't getting elected?
Ranked choice voting promotes majority winners because a candidate needs a majority of votes in the final round of the runoff in order to be declared the winner. In our current elections, when you have more than two people running, you end up with split fields, maybe two similar candidates split up their base of support, so neither of them wins, even if they had the more popular position. And so in ranked choice voting, initially, your vote always counts for your first choice. If your first choice is eliminated, if they don't have enough support and they don't make it to the final round of the runoff, your vote goes to count for your next choice instead. So your vote stays active and your voice is still heard in the election, but not every voter is going to rank every candidate. There will be voters who say, I only like this one candidate and I don't want my vote to count for anyone else. And that's okay. Voters should have the freedom to do that. What it means is sometimes in that final round, there are some ballots that are not counting between the two finalists. It's just like in a runoff election. Some voters choose not to show up and cast a vote in the runoff if they either don't care between the two candidates or if they had some other reason that they chose not to turn out. Short of requiring voters to rank every candidate, which we don't want to do, we want voters to have freedom here. Short of requiring that, this is as close to majoritarian as you can get.
Succinctly, what would you say is the biggest argument against ranked choice voting?
So the biggest argument against ranked choice voting is that it doesn't select candidates that support the preferences of the electorate as a whole as often as we would like for an electoral system. So traditionally, when we think about an electorate, especially the American electorate, we think that we can sort of array candidates on a spectrum from the left to the right. And when we think about what's a representative outcome, what do we want the election to accomplish? The answer is we want the candidate who ends up winning to be close to the middle of whatever that distribution is. So we'll often talk about the median voter as being the voter that we would like the elected candidate to have preferences that are roughly aligned with. And the problem with ranked choice voting is that you don't end up electing the candidate whose preferences are aligned with the median. It has this extremist bias. It has a tendency towards electing candidates who are further to the left or further to the right, relative to other electoral systems that, once again, we've been studying for hundreds of years, that also take advantage of the fact that if you ask voters to rank candidates, you can have more information and you can be more likely to end up with an outcome that represents the electorate as a whole.
To hear both sides of the ranked choice voting debate, go to fox17.com. It's under the Fox Links section. You can also watch the new episode of Full Measure every Sunday morning at 7:30 right here on Fox 17.
Coming up, talking more about the first day of spring and more on the vernal equinox.
And a ticking time bomb for society, what critics say.
Get a rate based on you with DriveWise and the Allstate app.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Well, March Madness is here, which means record gambling, especially with the popularity of sports betting apps. And experts say this could lead to a big spike in problem gambling. Spotlight on America investigative correspondent Angie Moreski explains why some call it a ticking time bomb for society.
From casinos,
this is Powerball,
to lotteries, to horse racing, Americans have long chased the odds of winning on a wager.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. But going after that winner's high,
BetMGM is for everyone that loves sports betting.
Has gone into overdrive since a Supreme Court decision in 2018 made it possible for states to legalize sports betting.
What we're seeing since 2018 is the largest and fastest expansion of gambling in our nation's history.
National Council on Problem Gambling Executive Director Keith White says that Supreme Court decision opened the gambling floodgates. 38 states and Washington, D.C. have legalized sports betting in the last 6 years.
I'm having a good time.
Washington, D.C. resident Raphael Haskell comes to the Caesars Sportsbook next to Capital One Arena every day. Are you losing or winning?
Well, I'm half and half.
The biggest driver of the most recent gambling surge are sports betting apps.
Bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets.
With enticing deals to attract new bettors, especially young men, the fastest growing demographic of gamblers like Chris Niebuhr. How old are you?
25.
Okay, so you're right in the demographic.
I'm exactly who they're marketing to.
With their popularity, sports betting apps are also contributing to an estimated 30% increase in the risk for problem gambling over the past several years.
Are these sports betting apps a game changer in gambling?
I think they are a game changer. It can make it so easy to get into trouble.
With the help of lightning-fast analysis through artificial intelligence, the sports betting apps offer seemingly endless propositions. And you're not just betting on the outcome of a game anymore. They have what are called micro bets on any little action in the game. Will they make that free throw? How about that first down? And it's just so easy to keep betting with just a tap on your phone. The National Council on Problem Gambling estimates 3 to 4% of the population has a gambling addiction, about 9 million Americans. And White says it often ends up hurting not just the individual, but also families, communities, and businesses.
Roughly 70% of people with severe problems report that they've committed a white-collar crime to finance their gambling.
He calls it a public health crisis and says with all the money being made comes a responsibility to minimize harm.
We need to work with every single segment of society to have a public health response just like we did with alcohol and with opioids. Gambling needs to be in that same conversation.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Angie Moreski.
Well, we have the warning signs of gambling addiction at spotlightinvestigates.com. We also have included links for anyone who may need some help.
Going to be a pretty cold night ahead again with temperatures dropping back into the mid to upper 20s. First day of spring on the way for tomorrow, and again, maybe a little shocking with how chilly it'll be, but the good news is we'll be warming up soon. Thought we would take a look and talk a little more about the 4 seasons, of course, and between March 19th through the 21st is the first day of spring, or what we call the vernal equinox. Now, equinox, of course, means where we're getting an equal amount of daylight and nighttime at night as well. The angle or the axis of the Earth here is the Earth itself, in fact, of course, on this axis, but it's neither tilted toward or away from the sun, which gives us that equal time of day and night. So that is what we're going to be looking at for tomorrow, this year, of course, on the 19th of 2024. Temperatures again looking to be on the cool side for tomorrow, but we'll be warming up to about 70 degrees as we head towards Wednesday, and then the weekend not looking too bad for the first weekend of spring. Another live look here from Broadway. We take you through the day tomorrow here for Nashville to Clarksville and Murfreesboro. Temperatures will be in those mid 50s as we head towards 2 o'clock. Notice your timestamp up here. We'll walk you more into time, closer to 60 degrees as we head towards the afternoon hours. That'll be about where we end up for the day. Notice too that the winds stay a bit on the breezy side this through 6 p.m. So I think we'll look at some wind speeds anywhere between 10 to 15 miles per hour. A few gusts as high as 20 miles per hour throughout the afternoon. And then as we head into the evening, those temperatures begin to drop back and those winds begin to come back a little bit. Won't be quite as breezy, especially as we head through the overnight and into early Wednesday morning. As far as what we're looking at as we look ahead here, so this takes us to the beginning of April now. And again, this is just a general idea of what we may or may not see depending on the trends of what we're seeing across a lot of model data. This is from the Climate Prediction Center. All of this blue you see here are below average temperatures, and Tennessee is included in that. A lot of the country looking at the potential for below average temperatures. Our time frame is the 26th of March through the 1st of April. Then our precipitation outlook slightly above average potentially, which I would say is pretty on par with what I'm looking at as far as long range models go. Rain chances do look like we're going to be getting into a pattern more of every couple of days a chance for rain. That'll be again later into next week. As far as temperatures go, we look again at the 26th through the 1st of April. That would be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday starting around this range, and temperatures do look to be below average for us here as well. So we take a look at your 7-day forecast here. We are looking at temperatures to remain in those 60s, which is right around average, about 65 or so. We'll see highs close to 70 as we head into the weekend, and rain chances not finding too many this week. Scattered showers for Friday and possibly a few more pop-ups on the way for Monday next week.
Matrimony on what's behind the resurgence in weddings. And the world's best athletes on the big screen, where you can see the Summer Olympics. And almost 2/3 of fourth graders here in the U.S. struggle to read at grade level. That's why Fox 17 and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting.
Awesome. This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone. This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Zander Insurance.
New tonight, new numbers show marriages are on the rise since the pandemic. The CDC says marriage numbers are now back to pre-pandemic levels here in the U.S. The agency says a little more than 2 million couples got hitched in 2022. The pandemic canceled many weddings as the U.S. dealt with lockdowns and crowd restrictions. In 2020, the number of I-dos reached about 1.7 million, the lowest in over 50 years. New York, the District of Columbia, and Hawaii saw the largest upticks. Earlier in our newscast, we told you about our live poll up and running right now, asking a pretty simple, straightforward question tonight. Are you excited for spring? 89.6% say yes, 10.4% say no. We'll have another update for you on these numbers tonight on Fox 17 News at 10 each night. Look for a new poll on our X page that you can participate in. A very unique way to watch this summer's Olympic Games, where you can see them on the big screen.
Get a new Highlander with 4.75 APR financing or $1,000 APR cash on Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
In entertainment news tonight, AMC Theaters ready to offer more sports-related content this summer. The theater chain says that you'll be able to catch the Paris Summer Olympics live on their screens. It isn't the first time AMC has streamed sporting events on the big screen. In recent years, they've streamed WWE and UFC events. The decision to broadcast this summer's games comes because AMC says it saw major success with Beyonce and Taylor Swift's concert screenings. Showings for the Summer Olympics will start on July 27th and end August 11th.
She refers to it as happy-ish, the balance of joyful moments even when there's grief in your life. I'm Liz Bonus, a story about emotional honesty just ahead.
I'm Christine Frizzell with a look ahead at the next chapter into Hunter Biden's business deals. What the chairman of the Oversight Committee says he hopes to learn this week.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
An Amber Alert issued on behalf of the Shelbyville Police Department is now over. TBI agents have found missing Journey and Daly Garrett in Alabama. The two children were the subject of an Amber Alert earlier tonight. Their mother, Casey Campbell, is now in custody. No one had seen the children since March 13th. And continuing coverage in the search for missing college student Riley Strain. Tonight, family members are calling into question the investigation by Metro Police. This comes after TikTokers found Strain's debit card along the bank of the Cumberland River over the weekend. The family also wants to know why it took 2 days to assign a detective to the case, and why we're just now seeing body camera footage of Strain interacting with an officer.
I wish something would have been done sooner. We've discussed this. The first 48 is so crucial. You know, don't shoot the messenger, but I think if we had people with badges right now that was covering this as strongly as the media has, we'd have Riley home.
Metro Police telling Fox 17 News there's no evidence of foul play in the case, and officers have met with Riley's parents to give them a full update. Fox 17 News working since the beginning to find out what happened to Riley Strain. Using multiple angles of surveillance video, we were able to walk Strain's apparent path after he left Luke Bryan's bar. We ended the walk at the last known location where his cell phone was connected to a cell tower near the Cumberland River downtown. To see the entire time lapse of Strain's path and our complete coverage of the story, just go to our website, fox17.com, and search Riley Strain. Well, Riley Strain, not the only missing person that police are actively looking for here in the mid-state. No one has seen Sebastian Rogers since February 26th. His mother says that she went to wake him up. The 15-year-old autistic child was gone, not in his bed. An Amber Alert remains in effect for Sebastian. And police in Clarksville are also looking for this man, Sean Beery. Beery was set to return to work March 9th, but he never showed. Someone last spotted the 53-year-old at his North Henderson Way home March 4th.
And now we're sitting here in threats of our leadership being taken from us.
A plan to change the way TSU is governed is seeing some changes of its own from state lawmakers. Members of the House are pushing forward a bill to remove 3 members of the university's governing board. Some students say they're not happy about this. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller joining us live from the state capitol after some call this a pretty good compromise. Caitlin.
Yes, well, last week the Senate passed legislation to get rid of all 10 members of the governing board at TSU. But today, the House passed legislation that would only get rid of 3 members of this board. But students at TSU tell Fox 17 News that they're frustrated without having a voice in this process. The House Government Operations Committee passed an amendment vacating 3 members of TSU's governing board. Under the plan, it would stay that way until 2026. TSU released a statement saying they welcome the amendment that backs away from the immediate termination of the entire board. But they say removing 3 members is still disappointing.
I think that the student's perspective and the student point of view has not been truly brought into this conversation.
Republicans believe this is a good compromise because it leaves the university with several board members for the next few years. Now, the bill is currently making its way through the House, and Representative Love says that it could see the House floor as early as next week. Reporting live from the state capitol, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Caitlin, thank you. Earlier in the newscast, we told you about our X poll asking a lighthearted question tonight, taking a break from all the tough stuff. Are you excited for spring? And 340 votes have come in. Most people, 89.7% say yes, 10.3%. I don't know what they're thinking. They're saying no. Each night, look for a brand new poll on our X page that you can participate in.
Maybe a couple more of those people say yes after tonight because it's going to be pretty cold. Hard freeze, in fact, expected for this evening. We've had a few things already in bloom, trees, and I've seen the daffodils up. Now, some of these are a little more hardy and can withstand some cold temperatures, but temperatures are going to be pretty cold tonight as we drop down into the mid-20s. Some areas could be in the low 20s for tomorrow morning. So if you do have some vegetation that is susceptible to frost and freeze damage that's already in bloom, would make sure that you're going ahead and either bringing it inside or protect it if you need to, if you can't bring it in. Temperature around 27 here in Nashville for the overnight, mid-20s for Columbia. Will be around 26 in Lewisburg, and Tullahoma right around 25 degrees as well. It's been a pretty quiet night on Broadway. The thing too, temperature has something to do with it. We're sitting at 36 degrees. A clear night, a clear sky, and winds that were breezy today are starting to die down, and that will allow our temperature to continue to drop as we head through the evening hours. I probably drawn towards this pretty blue here. Some snow showers to our north and west. They will stay northwest of us. We, in the meantime, will get by with a mainly clear sky for tonight. Cool start to spring, as I mentioned, with temperatures in those 20s. We'll talk more about some rain that is headed our way later in the week and more on your weekend. First full weekend of spring. That's all coming up.
The fate of a controversial Texas immigration law hangs in the balance. I'm Connor Hansen in New York. I'll have that story coming up.
And almost 2/3 of 4th graders in the U.S. struggle to read at grade level. That's why Fox 17 and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, partnering up with Reading is Fundamental to support children's literacy. You can scan this QR code on your screen to donate to our virtual book drive.
Hey there, hope you're having a great night. I'm Jennifer Waddell from the Fox 17 News Morning Show. Interest in careers in science, technology, math, and engineering certainly growing, but experts say there's more work, and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Tennessee Home Buyers.
New tonight, the Supreme Court ruling on a controversial Texas law over the southern border. As Fox News' Connor Hansen reports, the law would let local law enforcement arrest people suspected of crossing into the U.S. illegally.
The Supreme Court is extending the legal pause on a controversial Texas immigration law. The justices blocking enforcement while it continues to decide the matter. The law would allow any police officer in Texas to arrest migrants for illegal entry. Once in custody, migrants can either agree to a Texas judge's order to leave the U.S. or be charged with a crime.
It basically says we can arrest, we can detain, and we can either put you in jail or send you back.
Arresting officers need probable cause, like witnessing the illegal entry themselves or seeing it on video. Legal experts and immigration rights groups say enforcement should stay with the federal government and worry about racial profiling. The author of the Texas law has said it's meant to target people who recently crossed the border, not undocumented immigrants who have been living in the states for years. The Biden administration filed an emergency appeal with the Supreme Court to temporarily block it.
We've been in this showdown now for years since Biden became president. Seems like every day.
This is not the first time the Lone Star State has clashed with the Biden administration. Back in January, the Supreme Court ruled that federal Border Patrol agents can remove the razor wire at the southern border. But after all that legal trouble, the wire is still there.
I just don't have anything for you on that. We were very clear about what we thought about those wires.
The Department of Homeland Security has said funding cuts have put all of its work, including on the border, in jeopardy. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
She refers to it as happy-ish, the balance of joyful moments even when there's grief in your life. I'm Liz Bonus, a story about emotional honesty.
Friendly antique shop, CannonTN.com. Cannon County, just down the road and a world away.
A change at the top for rental car company Hertz. Stephen Scher is stepping down as the company's CEO and from Hertz's board of directors. It's happening about 2 months after Hertz announced it was selling around 20,000 electric vehicles and would invest in gas-powered cars. A month later, Hertz announced its biggest quarterly loss since 2020. Scher's resignation takes effect March 31st. As March Madness begins, the number of states that allow sports gambling rises for the 6th straight year. People in 38 states and Washington, D.C. can legally bet on sports. Rules vary depending on location. 30 states and D.C. allow online wagering. Some states prohibit betting on home state schools, while others ban wagers on the performances of individual players. And Chick-fil-A will open a test restaurant in New York City. The company's new location on Manhattan's Upper East Side will only fill delivery and mobile takeout orders. Chick-fil-A says the restaurant will not offer seating or any other dine-in options. Anyone picking up food will be able to see the status of their order on screens inside the location. Chick-fil-A says the restaurant is uniquely designed to cater to on-the-go New Yorkers. That's business in New York. I'm CJ Papa, Fox News.
In your health news tonight, a national author, speaker, and the host of a podcast, Terrible, Thanks for Asking, is on a mission to help people be honest about the difficult things in life. Fox 17 medical reporter Liz Bonus sat down with her to find out why.
So they aren't the emotions that you would usually put together, but the author of Happy-ish says that you can have grief and moments of joy at the same time.
Even if their story has some sadness in it, they're not a sad story.
Nora McInerney's husband died of brain cancer shortly after they were married. She was just 27 years old. Her message now is this.
You are more than the hardest thing that you've been through or the worst thing that has happened to you.
I spoke with her here at the Hard Rock Casino, where she was the keynote speaker for an event raising funds for Ohio's Tri-Health Heart and Vascular Center. She says with any diagnosis,
your gratitude can exist like right alongside your grief.
Those who listened here at this event got to hear what she's learned in the grief journey.
Grief is not just for dying. Grief is about the loss of the life that you thought you might have together, the future that you had together. Grief is about acknowledging all of those ancillary losses that happen with an unexpected diagnosis.
She told me the first thing to know is that with any unexpected diagnosis,
when people ask how you are, you say you're fine. You say you're fine even if, the answer is that you are hanging on by one little ragged thread. And I learned from the loneliness of lying about how I really felt that the world also needs our honesty.
Emotional honesty is what her work is about now. Oh, and then there's this.
The other thing I would say, take all the help you can get. Take all the help you can get. And don't count the cost to other people. Take people at their word. If they are offering to do something for you and you need it done, take it. Take it. I wish I would have said yes more to the people who wanted to show up for me, even if they were showing up imperfectly.
We have links to more of Nora's work online and this concept of emotional honesty as well. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
This week on Full Measure, Cheryl Atkinson reported on the ranked choice voting and efforts to install it around the country. Under that system, if the candidate with the most votes doesn't get at least 51%, the election goes into an automatic series of instant runoffs. Now, debate over whether it's a favorite, that's a group that favors the ranked choice voting.
And what would you say about the history and why it seems to be more front and center the past 10 years or so, I think, maybe, than before? You tell me if that's true.
We have seen a lot of growth in this country over the last 10 to 15 years. The more elections we see with ranked choice voting, the more evidence we have about how it's working in practice. And so we see impacts like increased positive issues-focused campaigning and less mudslinging. We see winners with broader support among their constituents. And the more we are seeing these outcomes in practice, more cities and more states are choosing to opt in. I think one of the reasons that the single winner version of ranked choice voting is popular here in the United States is that it plays to some of our American ideals and traditions about elections. We have a long history in this country of wanting majority winners. We have a number of states that hold 2-round runoffs in order to get a majority winner, and even more cities that do that for offices like mayor. Ranked choice voting aims to do the same thing without making voters show up and vote a second time a few weeks later. And this helps with turnout, and it helps with condensing those campaigns into just one campaign cycle.
For both sides of the ranked choice voting debate, watch a replay of Cheryl's story on this topic at fullmeasure.com. And you can watch a brand new episode of Full Measure every Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. right here on Fox 17. In your tech news, a massive database of what appeared to be AT&T records is available on the dark web for just a few dollars. According to cybernews.com, it includes 70 million records, including names, addresses, and social security numbers. The hack went down in 2021. The original criminal group wanted $200,000 for the data. Now there's a new seller. While the data seems to be accurate, AT&T says there's no evidence it came from them. Researchers say many of the exposed users appear to have AT&T accounts.
Temperatures tonight drop back into those mid-20s, as I mentioned earlier here. First official day of spring upon us for tomorrow, and will be the coolest day of the week. In fact, temperatures only topping off near 60 for the afternoon hours. Our temperatures overnight, though, here in Nashville drop down to about 27 as we head through the overnight. Again, the dark purple indicating a freeze as opposed to a frost. Frost usually is when we get localized frost that develops in low-lying areas especially. But once temperatures get into these 20s, that's when we're looking at more of a widespread frost, and that'll be what we get as we head through the overnight tonight. Temperature here at 10 o'clock, right around 40 degrees, looking at mainly sunny skies as we head through the afternoon. I do expect the winds to pick up again for tomorrow. Not quite as breezy as what we had today, maybe 10 to 15 mile-per-hour winds, as high as 20 from time to time, gusting up to about 20. Temperature around 55 at 2 o'clock. We should brush 60 degrees for the day, which is about 5 degrees below average now for this time of year. But we do see some warmer weather as we head into the middle of the week. We are dry as well. Not many chances for rain this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all dry. It'll be late Thursday that we've got a chance for a few showers, more so into Friday with scattered rain. And this looks to be our best chance for rain for the week ahead. The good news is I don't see severe weather as a big problem for us for Friday. Right now the weekend looks quiet, and then going into next week, maybe a few showers around. So we walk you through tomorrow. We'll take you through Tuesday afternoon, still looking nice and quiet. We have a front coming through week 1 for Wednesday. May bring in a few more clouds, but it's not going to do much as far as dropping temperatures. We will actually climb into the upper 60s for the afternoon. Then we get into Thursday mid-morning. You can see some showers off to the south and west. Better chance of rain developing as we head through Thursday evening, and more so into early Friday morning. Scattered rain will be around, and we'll see more of the majority of thunderstorms staying to our south for the afternoon hours on Friday. Overnight, right around 28 or so, with temperatures quite cold for the overnight. That widespread frost will be possible. We're at 60 for tomorrow, climbing to the upper 60s, close to 70 on Wednesday, mid 60s on Thursday and Friday, with highs close to 70 again as we head into the weekend.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk. Washington, D.C.'s cherry blossoms are now at peak bloom. It's the second earliest bloom on record, even beating the start of the city's festival by a few days. Speaking of blooms, it's now officially bluebonnet season in Texas. Beautiful fields of the state flower are often found right along state highways. And spring may start tomorrow, but winter is still alive and well in Goshen, Indiana.
I'm Christine Frizzell with a look
on Tundra.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today.
Toyota, let's go places.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by the Nashville Predators.
Continuing coverage tonight, House Republicans are getting ready to hold a public hearing as part of their impeachment effort of President Biden. As Christine Frizzell reports, a key witness who said he wanted to testify publicly has now decided against it.
House Republicans say they're entering the final stage in their investigation.
This is very serious because we're at the point now of criminal referrals.
For months, the House Oversight Committee has pored over emails, texts, and financial documents which Republicans say show corruption by the Biden family. Though a key witness, Alexander Smirnoff, was recently charged with lying to the FBI. Still, Chairman James Comer says the public hearing set for Wednesday will hopefully set the record straight on who lied under oath when speaking behind closed doors about Biden family businesses.
There were massive discrepancies between what 3 of Hunter Biden's business associates said pertaining to Hunter's involvement and pertaining to President Biden's involvement versus what Hunter testified.
Also invited 3 former business associates of Hunter Biden, including Tony Bobulinski, who continues to insist Joe Biden financially benefited from his son's business deals. Hunter Biden's lawyer Abby Lowell citing a scheduling conflict, but in a letter called the upcoming hearing a carnival sideshow, writing, "Your blatant plan for media event is not a proper proceeding, but an obvious attempt to throw a Hail Mary pass after the game has ended." Hunter Biden has already given his deposition behind closed doors, also showing up unexpectedly on Capitol Hill in January as GOP lawmakers held a vote to hold him in contempt.
Excuse me, Hunter, apparently you're afraid of my words.
And back in December, when he said this about testifying publicly.
I'm here. I'm ready.
Well, it appears for now the president's son has changed his mind. We're told at least 3 of his former business associates have also been invited to testify, so we'll have to wait until Wednesday to see who shows up and who doesn't. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Another big volcanic eruption in Iceland, but this time officials say that they're prepared. In London, I'm Alex Hogan. I'll have more on this story coming up.
Without busting your budget, like a fresh cracked egg on a steamy bun or a crispy golden chicken breast on a flaky biscuit. Breakfast doesn't need to be bougie, just good. And served till 11 a.m.
In world news tonight, another volcanic eruption in Iceland leaves residents and tourists scrambling to escape for the 4th time in just as many months. Fox News' Alex Hogan explains.
I've never experienced anything like that before.
It's getting to be a familiar event in Iceland, a major volcanic eruption near the famous Blue Lagoon spa, prompting evacuations for the 4th time since December. The lava flow is now flowing toward the town of Grindavik, which has been largely uninhabited since the first eruption. So far, defenses built in the past few months appear to be holding despite a heavier than expected lava flow.
The eruption was quite well, energetic, we could say. There was a lot of material coming out.
You can see here hundreds of tourists evacuated from the Blue Lagoon when the eruption happened. Some were even in the thermal baths when the lava started flowing. Most visitors say the evacuation was orderly and businesslike, but some are still in shock.
I hope everybody got out okay, but it really was an experience. And I'm like, at the same time, wow, how could this happen?
Most volcanologists now agree this cluster of eruptions is a signal that a major volcanic system is now active after about 800 years of lying dormant. And it's not clear what that will mean for the folks in nearby towns and cities, including the capital of Reykjavik, where more than 1/3 of the population lives.
We might have eruptions on the peninsula for the on and off for the next few hundred years.
The good news, the lava flow appears to be weakening and it is expected to stop within the next few days. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
All right, bundle up for a chilly night. Maybe get a reward there on the back end eventually.
Yeah, it'll eventually warm up as we head into the later part of the week. In fact, this weekend's looking pretty great. But really, no day is too bad. It's just going to be those mornings that are a bit cold. Tomorrow morning will be in the mid-20s, up to about 60 for the afternoons. Will be a tad cool, but